Hey everyone, it's Greg with Rider Magazine. I'm here with the 2022 BMW R18 Transcontinental. Last year BMW came out with the R18, which is a heavyweight, traditionally styled cruiser inspired by the 1930s era BMW R5. Now, to have a large cruiser, you need a large engine. And of course, BMW is known for its horizontally opposed boxer twins. Came out with what's known as the Big Boxer. It displaces 1,802 cc's, which is by far the largest boxer twin BMW has ever produced. When we tested the R18 last year, we put it on the dyno and it made 109 foot-pounds of torque at the rear wheel. And it made well over 100 foot-pounds of torque between 2,000 and 4,000 RPM. So, in addition to the standard R18 cruiser, BMW also added the R18 Classic, which added a windshield and semi-soft saddlebags. And for 2022, BMW has added two touring models. There's the R18B, or Bagger, and then there's the bike that you see here, the R18 Transcontinental. Now, the R18B is really designed for the solo rider with occasional passenger that may want to put on some miles. So it has a fairing, as you see here, but it has a shorter windscreen. Has a little bit narrower seat, and then it has also rider floorboards. It has hard locking saddlebags, which hold 27 liters each. Behind the fairing is a huge 10.25 inch full color TFT display and a Marshall audio system. Now, the Transcontinental that you see here is really designed for two-up touring for long distances. So it gets a taller windscreen. It also gets a 48-liter trunk with a wraparound passenger backrest. But also it gets additional features like driving lights, these adjustable air flaps at the bottom of the fairing, these wind deflectors for the rider's knees, and highway bars. Also, it gets a wider seat for more long-haul comfort. Now, the R18B and R18 Transcontinental are not just the R18 with a fairing and luggage tacked onto it. Their frame has been beefed up in key areas so it can maintain a high load capacity even though it has additional weight and base trim. Also, the steering geometry and chassis has been adjusted. So there's a steeper rake, it has a shorter wheelbase, and also there's an additional inch of suspension travel in the rear, which provides additional comfort but also adds more quartering clearance. So even though the R18B, which in base trim weighs 877 pounds, and the R18 Transcontinental, which weighs 941 pounds, even though they're much heavier than the standard R18, which is less than 800 pounds, these bikes actually handle better. So also because they're really designed for touring, instead of the spoked wheels with tube-type tires that you have on the R18 and R18 Classic, we've got cast wheels with tubeless tires, which makes for roadside repairs much easier. So you can get the R18B as well as the R18 Transcontinental with option packages, the Select package and the Premium package, that really add a lot of features that BMW feels owners will want. So up front, for example, you get the adaptive headlight and has a mechanical cornering function where it swivels up to 35 degrees in each direction to illuminate the inside of corners while riding at night. Also, right here in the front of the fairing are radar sensors. So the bikes come with standard dynamic cruise control, which will maintain a set speed and actually use the linked ABS system to slow the bike down on steep descents to maintain that set speed. But the optional active cruise control actually uses the radar to scan the lane in front of the motorcycle, and if it detects a vehicle, it will maintain a fixed distance between those vehicles, so it will adjust the speed accordingly. And it even, because there are lean angle sensors on this bike, it has the ability to slow down the bike in corners as well. So BMW partnered with Marshall Audio to create a full audio system for this bike. So the fairing includes two 25-watt speakers that are right here in front of the grips on the sides. With the optional packages, you step up to additional audio. You can get in the in the lids of the top-loading saddlebags, you get two 90-watt woofers. So that would be on the Bagger and the TC. On the TC, with the wraparound passenger backrest, you get an additional two 25-watt speakers. So you really get a full surround sound experience. Now, also because these bikes are designed for touring, the fuel tank is much larger. The R18 has 4.2 gallons of capacity. The B and the Transcontinental have 6.3 gallons. Now, my wife Carrie and I put about 1,500 miles on this particular Transcontinental, We rode from the press launch in Denver, Colorado, all the way back to California. So fully loaded with gear and 2-up, we averaged about 42 miles per gallon, which is about 268 miles of range for this bike, which is great. Also, in the top of the fuel tank is a smartphone compartment. It's water resistant and it has a USB plug so you can connect your phone to the bike. And with this large 10.25-inch TFT display, if you have the BMW Connected app on your phone, you can have navigation functions, phone functions, music, and so forth. And BMW's proprietary multi-controller wheel on the left grip really helps navigate through menus and so forth. But there are also some buttons on the 2 switch pods. Even though it has a hardened glare-resistant screen, that big TFT, though, is not touch-enabled. So, again, at the press launch, I rode the R18B for about 100 miles, and I found the bike to be comfortable, whereas some cruisers have what's known as sort of the clamshell riding position, where your arms are stretched out, your legs are stretched out, and it really kind of rolls your hips back, and you kind of sit on your tailbone. On the B, as well as the Transcontinental, I sit more upright. I've got a relaxed bend in my elbows, and it's quite comfortable for long stints in the saddle. Now, even though these bikes have footboards for the rider and also on the Transcontinental for the passenger, because these big boxer cylinders jet so far out to the side, the rider's legs are a bit hemmed in behind them. They're too wide to put highway pegs on the outside. Now for me, I've got long legs, so on the Transcontinental, I was able to hook my heels on these highway bars and straighten my legs out a little bit, but it was a little bit awkward. I couldn't do it for too long. We weren't able to test them, but BMW is going to offer accessory leg rests, which actually go on top of the cylinders, so the rider can stretch their legs out, put their calves on top of the cylinders without burning them because they get really hot. So again, these are fully featured touring motorcycles that are really premium in their full select and premium package specification. BMW is known for its touring bikes, and what it's trying to do is really go after the traditional heavyweight touring cruiser segment, which has long been dominated by Harley-Davidson, bikes like the Street Glide and the Road Glide. So BMW knew that styling is an important part of that, as well as the sound and feel of the engine. Now, it doesn't have the exact same look as a traditional air-cooled V-twin, but it is quite distinctive. It's got large cooling fins, and it's a really handsome-looking motorcycle. So, riding this bike for 4 or 5 days with carry on the back, loaded with gear, we really enjoyed a nice still pocket of air. The windscreen sends the airflow over my helmet, and Carrie enjoyed a nice pocket of air back here on the passenger back seat. She liked that the floorboards allowed her to get on and off the bike pretty well. And the saddlebags, which hold 27 liters each, or actually you lose half a liter of storage capacity with the subwoofers, and the trunk, which holds 48 liters or 47 liters with the optional audio in there. The saddlebags look large from the outside. They're a bit narrow on the inside, so it makes packing a little bit of a challenge. But the trunk is actually, it's quite spacious. It's carpet lined. It's got a power port so you can charge devices. And one of the optional features on these bikes is to have central locks. So there's a button right here on the grip. You just hit that and it automatically locks all the luggage. When you want to open it, you just push this button, pull a lever, and they open. Nice, convenient top-loading saddlebag. And then also for the trunk, again, it opens, closes, and seals quite well with that positive actuation of that lever, even when they were fully loaded, and you could close them well without any fiddling. So again, we really enjoyed riding this bike. It was comfortable. It has the sound and feel of a traditional cruiser, but being made in Germany, made by BMW, it's a little bit different than your traditional Harley-Davidson or Indian cruisers, and that's okay. You know, it's a bike that looks good, it performs well. You know, the engine really, it has 3 riding modes. It has rock, roll, and rain. And rock is really the one that has the most, rumbling sound and feel, the most direct throttle response. Roll is quite lazy. It's a little bit slow to respond. And then rain is really one that really rolls back the throttle response for riding in slippery conditions. Now, these bikes have large, strong brakes. They have full integral linked ABS. They also have traction control. So there's really not a safety feature or touring amenity that is missing off of these motorcycles. So again, there's the 2022 BMW R18B and R18 Transcontinental. We're going to have a full review in the October issue of Rider Magazine, as well as on our website. So you can check those out for more technical details, pricing details. Again, for example, this Transcontinental has what's known as the first edition package. So you get these handsome white pinstripes, you get some chrome detailing, you get special first edition badging, and then as an owner, you would get a welcome box with some special BMW swag items to recognize that you've got the first edition of these motorcycles. So again, go to ridermagazine.com for a full review and technical details and pricing. If you have any questions, please drop them below, and thanks for watching.